This video is going to be an in-depth guide to Shadow Raid, with the hope that you've played the game once or twice before, but will be accessible to someone who has recently picked up the game. This guide will be under the assumption you have completed the in-game stealth and loud tutorials. Shadow Raid is a complex heist, with the most varied loot of any map. It is arguably the most thought out pre-planning and options for approach. This guide will cover important spawns, including crowbars, crates and unbagged loot, safety zones, caution zones, danger zones, how to open the vault for the armor even on solo, how to force the dice and get rewarded an extra artifact, and the consequences of not doing so, different loot and its weight, an ideal tripmine setup, best pre-planning setup for this strategy and why, best skills to use for this heist, a very basic explanation of guard pathing and optimal obstacles to use, and general tips for stealth. For a shorter guide with more complex concepts explained, please refer to my Expert's Guide to Shadow Raid, everything found in the description below. Before we get into the game, we're going to talk loadouts very quickly. I will cover the skills for all players, so if you are new, you won't feel overwhelmed. Please equip all skills in the same order I show you. So I quickly want to explain how skill trees work for new players. In your skills menu there are 5 different skill trees, and each of those can be split into 3 different sub-trees. And in order to get to specific perks, you have to climb your way up the tree. Please, as you are following this guide, read each description of each skill we mention to understand what they do and why. First, we're going to head over to the Enforcer tree, and we're going to make our way to Transporter Basic. Then we're going to go over to the Technician tree, and we're going to make our way to More Firepower Aced. Then over to the Ghost tree, we're going to grab Second Wind, Duck and Cover, and Parkour Basic. Then over to the Fugitive tree, we're going to make our way up to Berserker Basic. Back to the Ghost tree, we're going to Ace Chameleon, get Cleaner Basic, and Nimble Aced. Then we're going to get Optical Illusions Aced, High Value Target Aced, and Sixth Sense Aced. Now we can head over to the Technician tree and make our way up to Jack of All Trades Aced, back to the Ghost tree, get ECM Overdrive Basic and ECM Specialist Aced. With one final point I'm going to spend on this build, we're going to head over to the Mastermind tree and grab False Friendship. If you have any points left, you can go to the Ghost tree and get Parkour Aced. It's not necessary, but it's optimal. As for your weapons, for your secondary, I recommend either the Locomotive Shotgun or the Judge Shotgun Suppress, as shotguns have the ability to launch bodies out of sight, saving you a body bag. The Judge is a community item, requiring you to click follow on the store page of Payday 2, and then restarting the game. However, I recommend it paired with a saw, as it will lower your detection risk. As for your primary weapon, I recommend you bring a Silent Saw. The saw will make your detection risk higher, which could be challenging for some players. However, if you don't bring a saw, you will either have to roll the dice on guard kills, or sacrifice at minimum 0 bags of loot, at maximum 3. There are a total of 24 bags of loot on Shadow Raid, it's up to you. If you would rather not bring a saw, or have a friend who does, I recommend akimbo pistols for your primary weapon, as they have high concealment. Don't forget to equip team boosts on both your weapons for an extra 6% XP and money. With all 4 people equipped with team boost, that's 24%. As for perk decks, I recommend Yakuza. It pairs really well with saws and saw skills, but isn't necessary. In this game, speed is optimal for stealth, not crouching around corners, and Yakuza benefits you with faster movement. Other recommended perk decks include Hacker for protection against cameras and calls, Burglar for overall faster speeds, and for those of you without any DLC, Rogue is probably the best you can get. If you are bringing a saw and or running Yakuza, equip a Molotov as your throwable, giving you a way to intentionally lower your health. As for your equipment, I recommend tripmines, as intel gives you awareness and overall a massive advantage to stealthing. If you have Jack of All Trades Aced, bring ECMs as your secondary. Remember to equip Quick in your crew management when playing alone, as it will allow you to interact with everything a lot faster. Remember to wear a suit for the lowest detection risk. When picking a melee weapon, pay attention to the concealment factor in the stats. Ideally, you want at least 30. Thus concludes the loadout section of the Shadow Raid guide. Feel free to rename your presets, allowing you to organise your setup per heist. Welcome to Shadow Raid. For ease of access, I'm going to split the heist into stages. Stages are appropriate to the game progress, or time based on the in-game timer and not your actual clock. The Prelude stage. Pre-planning. We will cover pre-planning and what is optimal for this strategy. Stage 1. Prep. Stage 1 will include taking out necessary guards, taking out the camera operator and disabling cams, and smashing the window. Securing loot is optimal, but best left later. Finally, placing all trip mines. The locations shown will allow you to see guards from every area you can get caught from. Look around for outlines before moving. And when you hear of a trip mine, find the guard that just got marked. Prep finishes when the helicopter arrives, which is roughly between 4:30 and 7. As for the helicopter, we will cover this later, but it usually arrives around the 5 to 6 minute mark, but it can be very inconsistent. Stage 2. Looting. The looting stage is for securing all loot inside the warehouse, both upstairs and downstairs. In-game, depending on the location of the loot found, and the location of the guards, you may want to stash or secure the loot in the appropriate way. Stage 2 concludes when you have found/secured your 15th bag. Looting only inside the building. The loot covered in the game. There will always be one painting, which can be thrown far, and you can sprint while carrying. Loose coke, which is the same. Loose money, the least valuable, ironically, of the bags. It can't be sprinted with, but it can be thrown far. Always at least one weapon, which slows movement speed and can't be thrown far. One server identical to weapons. Gold, which can only be found in crates inside, moves slower than weapons and throws shorter. Artifacts, which move even slower than gold and can't be thrown pretty much at all, only dropped. Artifacts are the biggest pain, and make sure to be extra aware before attempting to secure one, as you will only be able to crawl to safety. Despite artifacts being ridiculously slow, don't be upset by them. They are the most valuable random loot on the map, and one of only 2 loot on Shadow Raid, worth over 1 million each. Finally, 4 armor. There are 4 armor pieces inside the vault, saved for last. They appear to have the same stats as money bags, but are also over 1 million each. Artifacts, gold, money, and coke can all be found inside crates, with exception to money and coke, which can also be found outside of crates. I will just quickly cover some maths for the players who are new to Shadow Raid, but don't use any mods or HUDs. In the map, presuming you get the artifact from the helicopter, there are 24 bags of loot total. 4 of those are the armor pieces. 4 of those are money bags found exclusively outside. And 1 of those is the artifact from the helicopter. Add them all together and we get 9 bags. If we deduct 9 bags from the total 24 bags, we are left with 15 bags. Therefore, there are only 15 bags found inside. So count the bags you find inside. When you find a total of 15, you have found all the bags you can find inside. If you lose count, don't worry. Secure the bags and open your stat screen. It will show you how many bags have been secured. Back to our stages. Stage 3, outside. Once you have located all 15 bags of loot inside and ideally secured it, it's time to deal with the outside. Outside loot spawns differently. There will always be 4 money bags found outside and only found inside red containers. Note, there are guards everywhere. I suggest you go to the roof and find where most of the guards are, and then approach the other side and loot it while it's mostly clear. I will show you 4 ways to enter the courtyard. Guards outside are difficult to spot, so be extra careful and note you can rarely make a mistake and get away with it. After you find 4 money bags, I will show you 3 different ways of securing them, depending on where you are, it is, and they are. Stage 4, finishing up. The last stage that requires any effort. In order to get into the vault, you need to open it with 2 keycards. Both keycards need to be used within 10 seconds of each other. Otherwise, you cannot open the vault for the rest of the game. As a solo player, you can only carry 1 keycard at a time, so you'll have to find a keycard near the vault. So you can input keycard, run over to the other keycard, pick it up, run back, put it in. The first keycard you will get is a guaranteed drop from the camera operator. The second keycard should be found upon killing a unique civilian dressed in all orange. Kill him when he's near enough to the vault for this. Be aware that some guards can and do drop keycards, but it is very rare and unreliable, so I recommend the civilian. And you can attempt to tie him up and move him, but I recommend just killing him for convenience, because at this point in the game you do not want to risk it. Finally, depending on how many pages you have used, use the remaining pages on any guards left moving around. If they're standing still, leave them, unless they have line of sight to the vault. Guards will notice the vault open. You can tell if the guards can see the vault by standing next to it, and if they can see you, then they can see the vault. When all is set and ready, go ahead and open up the vault. And we will secure all 4 bags of armor. If guards get alerted and you have no more remaining pages, use an ECM if you do have one, restart if you have the patience, or just run for the van. Note, on death sentence 1 down, they will kill you instantly, so be quick. Roaming civilians will not notice loot bags or the vault being open. However, they will notice you and body bags. Stage 5, Escape. Now you have secured all loot with hopefully no alarm sounding, it's time to run for that van. Get out before it gets messy and you will find yourself with an abysmal 5% stealth XP boost, the lowest boost you can get. However, should things go smoothly, you will find immense satisfaction and possibly even a desire to do it again, but better. These are the 6 stages of preparation and play. To recap: Prelude, Preplanning. Stage 1, Prep. Stage 2, Looting. Stage 3, Outside. Stage 4, Finishing Up. And Stage 5, Escape. Things to remember throughout the game. You will need to find a crowbar at some point. I will show you their spawns. Remember to find the key cards and remember to make use of your 4-pager limit. Some people see it as 4 mistakes, while I see it as 4 guards we can get rid of. If you don't like RNG like me, and like a reliable strategy, there is a way to stop the game punishing you and giving you extra guards, by instead giving you a high risk, high reward artifact. Do not throw your loot outside the window, as guards can see it from the roof. Instead, stash it by the window and throw it out all at once at the end of stage 2. When you throw your Molotov, move away from the wall. Guards can sometimes spawn right next to it and will hear the explosion of your cocktail. Additionally, there are 2 doors in the game that we will open with purpose. Try not to open doors that you don't have to. Doors can update path AI, rendering some safe places unsafe, or additionally updating guard AI, meaning they no longer get stuck. I will explain further in my Expert's Guide to Shadow Raid, but basically, opening any doors is a big no-no. The first door we have to open is to the camera room. This does not affect pathing. The second door we have to open is to secure the artifact from outside, but we open this door last anyway. Furthermore, only civilians can pass through here, so when you are at the end and just moving the armour, it doesn't really matter as they won't see the bags. We will place trip mines to alert us to be careful of being caught. But, there being no guards in here, if a civilian does become alerted, we can just tie them up and move on. Finally, remember, movement is key. Run past guards, do not sneak past them. Run to an object that blocks the guard's vision to you. They can't catch you if they can't see you for long enough. Right, let's get on with it. Just a reminder, this guide will be in depth. It's not a quick watch and go. This will cover everything you need to know before heisting Shadow Raid. It is a complex heist, but one that is well worth the effort and highly satisfying. So, time to pre-plan this heist. I will tell you the best pre-planning placements for certain items and what is worth bringing. But I will also use this blueprint of the map to explain certain guards pathing and RNG. First guard we need to kill patrols here. There can be a camera at the bottom of the stairs, so it is ideal to kill the guard at the top of the stairs out of sight. If the next guard is stationary, you shouldn't need to waste a body bag on him. Try and launch his body behind the stairs to hide it. When using a shotgun to launch a body, dominate a guard by hitting your shout button the second they become alerted. They will surrender and allow you to aim their body before shooting. If you shoot the guard further away from the stairs, beware the guards on the roof can either spot the body or you answering his pager. So if you are too impatient to wait for him to move somewhere safer, just make sure the roof is clear. The second guard is a maybe, and one of the few RNGs of this heist that can change the whole game. The spy cam we will place by the docks will let us know immediately if this guard is stationary or moving. If he is stationary, he's fine, leave him. If he's moving, then kill him. Make sure not to shoot his body into the river, as you won't be able to answer the pager. Try, if you can, to shoot his body towards the building, to place both you and him out of sight from guards on the roof. So first, we buy a dead drop. We're going to place body bags inside the maintenance shed, because this is accessible through the wall inside the warehouse, where most of the action happens. Secondly, we're going to back up and buy a loot drop-off point at Waterfront Garbage. This allows us to secure loot quicker and safer. Next, we go into surveillance and buy a spy cam at the Southwest Crane. This is the spy cam that shows us our stationary guard, very important. With only 2 favours left, we might as well get another spy cam, inside the main cargo area. Of all the spy cam placements, this one shows us the most intel, covering a huge blind spot and watches our backs while we move most of the loot, and at the very end gives us all the intel we need to take the vault. Finally, while we're on the pre-planning screen, I want to explain the RNG of the helicopter. The helicopter can spawn either more guards or an artifact. It is a roll of the dice, random chance to get one or the other. Personally, I don't favour RNG as I like reliability. So there is a way, by blocking where the guard helicopter lands, we force the helicopter to give us an artifact instead. Should you want the challenge of extra guards, you can block where the artifact lands. Or, if you have 2 players, you can even block both and get nothing. Entirely up to you. I think with the artifact spawn out in the open, it is a high risk, high reward anyway. We don't need a high risk helicopter based on chance with 0 reward. More guards mean you can't reliably open the vault, increased risk and danger inside. You can skip this step if you so wish. But on this screen I will show you where you need to stand to block the helicopter. Essentially, where the helicopter lands is where you stand, so if you want an artifact, you stand here on the helipad. Look towards the docks into the distance, and when you hear this,
stand by team, torque walk range is inbound.
Wait until you see a helicopter. If done correctly, it will be carrying a container carrying an artifact. The second you see it, you can leave. And be careful to avoid guards on the roof. Be aware, guards can get stuck on the helipad, but using advanced tactics you can get around them. It's just highly risky, and worth restarting if it goes wrong. The second we spawn in, we want to run backwards away from the wall and cook ourselves. We do this first so it's out of the way, but also because you have the risk of going down. Don't be embarrassed if you do, just restart and try again. You will only learn in time when to run out of the fire with the lowest health possible. Skip this step if you didn't bring a saw or aren't using Yakuza. Now we've cooked ourselves, we can run past the gate. Watch out because guards can get very close to it, so take it wide and be careful. Pay attention to the zones on the screen in moments like this, where you need to be careful. Once we get to the alleyway, we can try and locate our first guard. He could be right around the corner, or all the way at the bottom of the stairs. We wait patiently and kill him in the ideal location, which is at the very top of the stairs. While we wait, we can see if that guard by the docks is marked, and if he is, we can see if he is standing still or moving around. If he is stationary, he will be facing away from you. If you need to take him out, then do, but be aware, this puts you a page down already, which can make inside very challenging, especially if at the end 2 guards are left roaming, you can only kill 1. If the guard is stationary, we can leave the body here. If not, bag them up and throw them in the river. Also, you can't throw bags in the river on this side of the fence. I think it's for safety when securing your loot bags. Now, we can head up this ladder and jump across the roof. I see people struggle with this jump, so I will show you how early you can jump and still make the gap. I like to jump just before the wood plank, but you can do it anytime you like. Just don't leave it too late and not jump at all. It is way better to be early. There are multiple ways to jump onto the roof, and I will show you them right now. Remember to be careful jumping across, as guards can come right up to the edge and you may have to wait for them to move. Next, we are going to head down these stairs and place our first trip mines. A few things about these stairs. Firstly, danger! These stairs are a high traffic and no safety location. Very, very, very often guards come up and down here. Take these stairs slowly and cautiously. Be ready to run at a moment's notice. Remember the guards inside wear flashlights, so if you see a light in this staircase, it means a guard is coming. In a panic, run behind here, behind the stairs. Guards will never come back here, meaning it is a safe place to store bodies, loot, and yourself. Just make sure it's tucked in, out of sight. We will place trip mines at both the top and bottom of the stairs, and make sure they are on sensor mode, or This will alert us of guards coming up or down if we are ever on them. Make sure you pay attention to where I place my trip mines. Sometimes I place them on the doors themselves to give us a heads up of a guard entering the doorway or even walking past it. If I place them in the door frame, it usually just means it doesn't matter. Next, we will make our way to the camera room. Be aware the safest place from cameras is usually right underneath them. Be very careful of guards and use the objects like I do to block lines of sight. Civilians can and will come upstairs, but only to go to this window. They will not go onto the roof. Note that here, behind these boxes, is a safe spot, from both guards and civilians, as they do not have direct line of sight of you. You can even stash loot bags very carefully here, although I do not recommend it, as it actually takes longer to move them than individually. Make your way to the camera room and avoid the guards. Lockpick this door and not the other one. If the civilian is here, but just arrived, you usually have enough time to pick it before he turns around. It is risky, but doable. Now take out the camera operator by running into the room, alerting him and dominating him. Then launch his body into this corner. So long as he isn't visible from the doorway, you won't need to bag him. Now that you've taken care of his pager, we are going to make our way down the stairs. Before you leave, look here and see if the server spawned inside the camera room. If so, grab it and stash it behind the door for later. If not, it will be in this location, which is quite dangerous, so go only when it's definitely clear. Ideally we want to break the window, but people can hear it within range, so wait until things look very clear then go for it. You can also use Sixth Sense to mark enemies that are within range of hearing the glass. This window is important as it is your safest way out for you and for loot. If you want to play it safe, take care of the trip mines first, so you can see every guard that is a concern and where they are headed. Here, behind these boxes, is another safe place for you and loot, as you can see no guards have line of sight. And just next to here is a manhole leading to the sewers. Safe place to drop a body down, but do not fall down. If you miss the ladder, the fall will kill you. Only open if necessary. This trip mine in the warehouse can be quite difficult to place. You may want to place it against the door, but I feel placing it here gives you the split-second extra heads up of a guard about to walk through that door, rather than marking him when it's too late. To place this trip mine, I recommend lining up your laser with the bottom of this door frame, exactly the same way as I line mine up. This trip mine covers our blind spot behind this door. This trip mine covers guards entering into the locker room, and this trip mine covers guards and civilians. We will place a trip mine on the main stairs at the top, middle and bottom, as this staircase is also a high traffic zone. Be extra careful when going up or down here. Take it slow and look out for flashlights. Remember, guards will turn around before going down too, so don't follow them too close. I place trip mines on the entrance to the staircase because again, it gives us that split second heads up before it's too late. These last two trip mines only cover civilians later in the game, when we open this door. Make sure when you lockpick this door later, not to switch to explosive mode. Now you've taken out the glass and placed all trip mines, depending on how much time is left, you can start looting, or just head to the roof and conclude the prep. I wouldn't leave any later than 4:30, as you can make it to the helipad very fast, but guards could and will usually block your access, and you'll have to wait for them to move. Allow yourself extra time, wait on the helipad patiently, and if a guard is coming your way, note that hiding here is a safe place. Not too far from the helipad that you can run to in an emergency. Once the helicopter spawns, stage 1 concludes. Now for stage 2. If you don't have a crowbar, I will quickly show you more often than not reliable spawns for crowbars. Note the one in the kitchen and the one by the camera room is a guaranteed spawn. While looting, keep an eye out for loose money bags. They look like black boxes. Or cocaine piles, they look like white bags. And here is a guaranteed spawn for a weapon to demonstrate what weapons look like. I recommend Wolf HUD for beginners, to inform you of what is loose and where to find it. Here is where you can stash loot by the window, to throw it out later. Again, after testing, the guards on the roof don't seem to care all that much. I will quickly show you the locations of all crates. And remember, the painting can move. It can even spawn in the cages or the warehouse. Here is what it looks like. I'm going to talk about the saw quickly for beginners. The saw is a loud weapon. Even with a silent motor, the saw still produces sound. I know, right? The radius of noise the silent saw makes is roughly or exactly the same radius that Sixth Sense marks around you. So you can just stand still for 3 seconds, wait for Sixth Sense to mark anyone around you, and then get sawing when everything seems clear. Remember to look above and below you, as guards can apparently hear you through the ground. Makes sense, right? Okay, so you paid for a silent motor mod, and you didn't get a silent motor. I know what you're thinking, but let me tell you, if you're still salty about those 6 continental coins, then there is a glitch that you can use to make your saw relatively silent. When you saw in the air, your saw's volume is minimal, at a radius of like 0.5 meters. Basically, unless it's next to you, it can't hear you. When you saw an object, however, the clash of metal makes a much louder sound. But when you saw in the air, it doesn't just saw quietly, it sets the volume of the saw low for even a second after you stop sawing. Meaning you can saw the air, then saw the cage, making sure only to saw for that second, and it will be next to silent. Just be aware that 0.5 meters extends to below and above you. Guards positioned directly above or below you clearly have their ear to the ground and will hear you saw, so you can wait for Sixth Sense or just go for it. If you don't open the cage in that second, just saw the air again to reset the clock. Remember, based on where guards are, sometimes it is easier to take loot to the roof and either stash it behind the stairs or throw it off the roof like so. Remember to have it land on the roof so it slides off, otherwise it may be visible from the roof. Once you have all your bags, referring to your HUD or counting up to 14 or 15, it's time to throw it out the window and then take them over to the bin. If you want to time or show off, you can throw money and coke in the air over the fence like this. Don't throw all your bags right next to the bin, and then in the bin. Walking bags from a distance like this can actually save time, as there is a delay between throwing one bag and picking up the next. Over long distances, however, it is more time efficient to move the group of bags closer, then move them all one by one. You can reliably do this trick shot over the fence by walking up to the fence, line yourself up with the mattress, slightly nudge yourself to the left and take a step back. Look straight up and throw. The bag should go over the fence and slightly wonkily to the left, landing straight in the bin. This does save you time having to duck under the fence per bag, but that is only when you can do the trick shot reliably and quickly. And the last bag doesn't need to be thrown over as you are going through the fence anyway, but by all means practice. Now for stage 3. Outside is tricky. Head to the roof, if it's safe. Take a look around the courtyard and find where most of the guards are. If they are on this side, then maybe it's a good time to go for the artifact. If they are all near the artifact, jump down here to start looting the money on this side. Here are 4 ways to enter the courtyard. and 3 places you can store loot and collect later. Remember to avoid this guard if he is stationary. If you walk right against this invisible wall, you are just out of his vision and he can't see you. But going past him on this side, stay crouched, as he can even look around the corner and spot you for a long time. Here is just a quick view from the roof to see all red containers. Remember, there are only 4 money bags outside, as some containers are more dangerous than others, this one in particular as it can only be accessed from one side, and people stop right in front of it. Check the safer containers first. If you have 4 bags already, no need to check that dangerous one. Now for the outside artifact. Only approach when clear. I recommend you hop in and open up the crate from up here, grab the artifact and walk carefully back towards the door you now need to open. Opening it before risks a civilian passing right through here, and I have seen it update that quickly. Just grab the artifact, clench those cheeks, and haul it back to the window. Collect all those money bags and secure them, and you should have secured 20 bags. Woohoo! Now it's time for stage 4. Hopefully by now, you have seen and captured your orange sieve. The keycard is within range. Or you had to unfortunately pop a guard who blessed you with his keycard. Keep an eye out for any guards left moving. And by the way, if one of the guards that is moving is on the roof, you have enough time to empty the vault into the bin before he can even get to it. So you don't necessarily have to kill them. But just note, if a guard spots you while the vault is open, it's highly risky to kill him and answer his pager, so best to do it before, or just drop an ECM. If running hacker, pop your pocket ECMs and then your actual ECM for extended time, and if you're lucky, another pocket ECM will have recharged. Either way, you usually have enough time to get the loot out, even when things go loud. The biggest risk is the guard's damage, so either get killing or stay undetected. Don't panic though, this part of the heist is the most liveliest, but unless you let them kill you, you have plenty of time. And worst comes to worst, you can escape without all loot. Note, guards often get stuck right in front of the vault. If you see this and don't have any pages, you could kill him, ECM and take only 2 bags of armor, or, in very rare cases, you can even sneak around him. But I would either restart or escape. That's it, stage 5, escape. Make sure to escape through the window and take the long way back, as running through the compound risks getting shot. If things went perfectly and you're feeling confident, you could ECM rush some packages, but I would rather just quit while you're ahead. And that's it! You completed Shadow Raid! Woohoo! I hope this guide wasn't too long or redundant. My intention was to be thorough. Hopefully you enjoyed, and let me know in the comments if now you've beaten Shadow Raid. It is my favourite heist by far, and I will probably do more videos on it in the future, and maybe some other ones. Let me know what you think in the comments, and thank you very much for your support. I'm just going to take the last few seconds to thank some friends of mine, Crimson, Raticus, and lastly my girlfriend for supporting and encouraging me to make this video. And I would also like to thank DaVinci Resolve for finally working again and allowing me to edit videos. Finally, I would like to thank a good friend and supporter of mine, Andre Boatset. He supplied me with some samples of music which I have overused in this video. A link to his website is in the description. Go and check him out, he makes awesome music and seems to be highly, and I mean highly, committed. Subscribe if you want to see more Payday 2 content like this. And for those of you wondering about my Skyrim series, I'm gonna have a little rant for a minute. You can click off if you don't want to see. My software died after I made an enormous amount of recordings. Those recordings are there and alive, and not corrupted yet, but I attempted to edit the next episode on many different editing softwares, and in some it got corrupted or tedious, or I got some migraines off of a few, and I wasn't proud of any videos or enjoying the experience, and with my favourite editing software back and kicking, hopefully I can return to the series. The series so far has been very serious and straightforward, and I would like to introduce some emotion, comedy, danger, fear, and love to my playthrough. Unfortunately, Skyrim is a game I take analytically, and I know it inside and out. Let's just say Luthias might get some depth. Legendary is a challenge and fun, and I would love to make more unpredictable content rather than the trust me I know what I'm doing atmosphere. The last issue I had with Motivation was in relation to some copyright issues, which I honestly don't know if it's fair or not. But basically I usually get ideas for jokes in my videos and then YouTube takes them down. I don't claim to make the music or even want money for it, so I'm thinking of finding somewhere else to upload those jokes exclusively, and maybe like cut them out of the video and then just set up a montage or something. Let me know what you think. Anyway, I have talked for far too long now. I hope you learned something, and I hope you had fun while doing it. Let me know those of you that kicked Shadow Raid's ass, if you enjoyed it, and if you want more. Thank you for sticking all the way to the end, and if you could show even more support by liking, commenting, and subscribing, I'd be eternally grateful. Any questions too? Leave them in the comments. Thank you very much, and take care.